Nice. Bom, pessoal, nice, guys. So I'm gonna do here a quick turn from English to Portuguese, okay? So to all English attendees, now it's your turn to get the translation, the live translation to from Portuguese to English. So all you have to do is go to the interpretation button on the bottom of Zoom call and then select English. And thank you so much for joining us for the Google session.
Marceli, welcome. Thank you, Diego. It's great to be here. It's fantastic to have you here and have you as a client and a partner of Globalfy. I think it's important for us in the same way, in the same way that it's great for us to see brands growing and entering the market and developing themselves. The knowledge that these brands obtain when they go to other markets and this knowledge that they can share is really amazing. And when we can help each other, that's really fantastic, right, Marceli? So, I just want to ask you to tell us a little bit about B.O.B. Where did this brand come from? What do you guys do? Sure. First of all, thank you for inviting me here, Diego. It's a pleasure to be here. You are great collaborators of ours, of our expansion into that market. I'm going to introduce myself very quickly. So I've been at Bob for 1 year, and I am the head of internationalization. So I really work with, taking this company from Brazil to the US. That is my main role. A lot of people know Bob, especially people from Brazil, but I'm going to tell you all a little bit about how this idea came up and what our main purpose is. So feel free, of course, to type your questions up. So we started with the main purpose of eliminating plastic in self-care routines. So when you go into any bathroom, you see a ton of plastic, right? The shampoo bottle and many different plastic bottles that we use every day, and then we just throw them away. So of course, nobody is surprised by the problem of plastic that we are facing. And it really is quite severe. So we produce more than 120 billion units of plastic per year, only in this category of personal care. So imagine this in other categories. So this is only in personal care, and this plastic takes 400 years to disappear from the world, right? And sometimes it doesn't even disappear. So more than 150 million tons of plastic are already in the ocean. And this is scary. It's very serious. Last year, we saw a report about microplastics being present in our blood. So we really do need to do something about this. And we came up really to try and do something about this in the personal care area. So we launched products, cosmetic products that are in bars. So no water is used in their production or formulation. And the products are in paper boxes. So these are bars in paper boxes, which take 6 months to decompose versus 400 years. So we can completely eliminate plastic in that way. And another important piece of data here is that today, 80% of the formulas of these products today is water. So if you look at these personal care products, the first ingredient, there's going to be water. So you're taking an important natural resource, bottling it up, and you don't need to do that. And this means that when you package a liquid product in a dark place, you need to put some kind of conservant in it. So this means that you have this in the formula, and it's not good for your hair and it's not good for the planet. So when we produce waterless products, we have more natural products that are vegan, that do not use plastic, and that are better for your hair. So We have shampoo, conditioner, we have deodorant. We have a range of products that are very interesting. So that is a little bit of Bob's story. All right. So is it B-O-B or is it Bob? In Brazil, we are called Bob. And in the US, we say bars over bottles. So it's that's our name in the US, bars over bottles. Great. So all of these products are manufactured in Brazil. Yes, that's correct. Go ahead, go ahead. So I just remembered another important piece of data here. We can say today, you know, that we recycle a lot, but when you look at the recycling data in the US, for example, only 5% of the material is recycled. So that is not a solution that we have today that is widespread yet. Yeah, absolutely. And in what moment did you all decide start to sell your products in other countries? So Bob, we are 3 years old. And when we started, the founders always had this dream of the brand being international. So they always wanted to sell internationally. And finally, in the beginning of 2022, we started with 2 very good years in Brazil. And then we decided to start this international launch through the US. And I can think of some reasons here. The US is a huge market with a very mature consumer on the sustainability subject. And here in Brazil, people are starting to understand the importance of this. And I feel that in the US, this is more valued. There are no brands right now in the US that are a kind of reference in cosmetics in a bar form. So yes, there are some big brands, but there is not a brand like Bob in Brazil that is a reference in this area. So I think it's a big opportunity to build a brand, you know, that is this friendly brand that is speaking to the client. We're not being apocalyptic here. We're speaking to the client.
So I think that's a great opportunity. And when we take a look at the number of searches in the United States on about plastic free, it increased 300% from 1 year to the next. So it's a great opportunity to be in that market. And you were sure that it was going to be the United States, or did you analyze other markets as well when making the decision to go international? Actually, one of our founders lives in Berlin. Andrea is from Berlin. So we wanted to go to Europe first. That was our objective. But in terms of product regulation, Europe is much more complex than the US. And in the US, Amazon came to us to present this opportunity. So we embraced this opportunity due to Amazon, and we launched. And we also have future plans to tackle new markets. It was Amazon Brazil through the Global Selling Program that began that conversation with you. Yes, exactly. On Tuesday, on the first day of the event, Jaime from Amazon in Mexico talked about global selling. That's great. Do you think that the fact that Amazon sought you out and gave you validation, you think that was a decisive point to really launch the product? It's just part of it. I think it was a turning point to accelerate. We had the initial idea, like I said before, ever since I thought about the company, I wanted to expand, but that accelerated the process of, you know, because there's a lot of things to deal with, but we just held on to that and we accelerated the process. For those who don't know it, and to give an overview, Global Selling is an Amazon program that I think it's available on all of Amazon's marketplaces. I know it's in Brazil and in Mexico and here in the US and several marketplaces in Europe. It allows and helps brands to do business in different marketplaces and countries. So Amazon in Brazil provides support for Bob and Marcelo's team to bring these products from Brazil to the United States. That can also happen with an American company, which might be your next step in Europe, to sell in Europe, and they help in that process to expand. And Amazon, in Brazil and specifically in Mexico, they're very proactive in seeking out companies because they refer several clients to us. We help a lot of brands that are part of Amazon's global selling program. Other than Amazon, you have your own website, right? Yes, which is part of our partnership with Globalfy. So when we launched in the market, we tested these two main fronts. We with Amazon and have our own website. And talking a little bit more about Amazon, I think that the great advantage of Amazon is that the consumers are already there. You don't have to go after them. And to get that in the United States, the client acquisition cost is very big. So that's the big advantage where you already meet the consumers and you already have your brand because people are there. They're searching for your product, and of course, it's necessary to invest in Amazon. Just being there, it might not be so relevant. So you might have to invest a little bit, but client acquisition cost is much less than having your own website. So those are three great advantages. Another advantage is how simple it is in terms of logistics. We can work with an internal Bob team here who does the entire shipping plan and then sends to one distribution center of Amazon, which sends to other distribution centers so they can begin their one-day shipping phenomenon and just send it to one distribution center and they spread it out to the other ones throughout the United States. And that's exceptional. It's really great. A lot of businessmen ask us when they're beginning their operations, excuse me, if it's worth the fulfillment by Amazon, FBA. That it does make sense for them to use FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. And I always joke that, well, but they're your competitors. And they said, well, I want to see the day where I can compete against Amazon. If you have your product inside the warehousing and Amazon fulfillment centers for the prime consumers, you have 1 or 2 days shipping. So as a comparison, the product from our fulfillment center here in Orlando from Globalfy, the average delivery time in the United States is 3 to 4 days. That's how we measure from we get the order to the time that we deliver it to the client. That's the average time. And on Amazon, if you're Prime, it's also available in Brazil and other countries. I can receive the product on the same day or maybe the next day or at most 2 business days. So there's a big advantage for using Amazon fulfillment options. But for sales operations, you said that you have Shopify. When you have your own channel, I think in my opinion, I want to know yours too. You have a relationship with the consumer and on Amazon, you don't have that relationship. The great objective of Bob for the future, when we are able to invest in our channel, is to evolve our own channel more than Amazon. So have both of them sort of on the same level. Nowadays, we invest more in Amazon, but the objective of the brand is to be our own selves. Because we like having the unboxing for the consumer. We want that to be completely free from plastic and in the Bob way. That's why we have a partnership with Globalfy, because we have this opportunity to do that the way that the brand wants. We want that to reach the consumer the way that we visualize that, like we do it here in Brazil. So it's very important for us. And we had growth beyond expectation with our own channel, with the SEO work that we've been doing. And that's been giving us a lot of results. You saw maybe on Black Friday, we ran out of stock since because of the sales. It was unexpected, but it was great. To have our own channel is very important for the brand. And as an expansion strategy, you have this balance between selling on Amazon, where you have advantages because the consumer trusts Amazon. I trust Amazon. I don't care who's selling. If there's a problem, I'll open a complaint, a ticket, and it will be resolved. So you have this balance of being able to acquire a client who already trusts the Amazon brand, but also have your own channel so that you can create a relationship with your consumers. You can have more direct information and to begin building this relationship. That's very important, right? Yes, very much so. And 6 or 7 months ago, we began an email marketing campaign that was very strong, and we've had great results. So having our own clients is the best. But it's like I said, to enter the market, Amazon plays an important role for you to have reviews and everything. I think we have over 3,000 reviews on Amazon for our products. So for you to get that space in the market, it's very important. But on the other hand, having the consumer directly and having their contact is great as well. It's very advantageous, right? Especially for campaigns and stuff. You can do similar audiences and stuff. That makes a difference. When you launched your brand here in the United States and when you began internationalization, did you need to adapt the product and the packaging? What was the process of, in terms of fragrance or color or composition, did you have to adapt anything, or was it really the same product in different market? That's a great question. When we decided to sell in the United States, we needed to go through an adaptation process for the packaging and the formula analysis, which is what we're doing as well. We have a partner who do all this process for us. They analyze the laws in the United States in regards to the product, what is needed, what does the law makes you do, because Europe is much more rigorous in that sense, and they adapt and they give us a packaging guide, letting us know what we can do and what we can't. This information is needed, what side of the package, which changes a lot from Brazil to the US, for example. So we went through this entire process that usually takes 6 to 7 months, depending on the number of SKUs that you're working with. But it's an important process. And I think it's a process of studying the market. You need to understand the language of the consumer, what they want. Now, there are different dates in the United States. There are a lot of market research studies that it's important to conduct beforehand. The product in itself, we didn't need it. I don't know about other categories, but in our case, we didn't need to do any adaptation. Something that we noticed, but it didn't affect our sales and our positioning in the market, is that we're smaller than other competitors in terms of the weight. It's natural for other people in the United States to do larger products, but we didn't really need to alter anything because it was working well the way that it was already. So, but we thought about that maybe in other categories, we might have an adaptation in the size, but we didn't need to do any alterations in the formula or anything, just the packaging. That's great. I have a question here from Juliana from other marketplaces. Did you analyze going to Walmart.com or any other marketplace, or you just focused on Shopify and Amazon? We did think about that. We contacted a few other marketplaces that had integration with Shopify, but it wasn't a very easy conversation. it wasn't anything that was very easy to go in. So we joined a marketplace called VeriShop, which is more specific for sustainable brands, but it didn't really yield results. So we really decided to focus. There's a lot of things to get from and extract from Amazon. We have a pretty tight team, like any startup. So we need to focus on what provides the most growth. So currently, we're not looking at specific marketplaces. I have a few more questions here, and I think they're very practical questions. So it's nice for us to go. First of all, in regards to the team, for example, copyrighted product descriptions. Did you do it internally? Did you outsource? What was the process of adapting the ads? Well, it was a saga. When I started, it was we had a one translator, but it was bad. So it was really hard to find the ideal partner. I think that's a great challenge for any professional when you're joining a new market, is to find the right partners. Globalfy, I found through a friend of mine who lives in the United States and referred it to me. So I talk a lot to people in the United States to get these connections. In regards to copyright, we tested it out. Today, we work with a very good translator. We work together, and we help an SDO company as well. So they do all our blogs. It's an American company, yes, an American SEO company. If you want, I can pass you their information. They're great. And we had an amount of blog articles last year, and this year we doubled it because we were doing some really cool things. So the whole thing of copywriting, social media, blogs, everything, we do it with the SEO company and the translators. So, and I have this my own insight for the final word. But we have a lot to improve still, I think. So that's an ongoing thing. Yeah, constant evolution. When you think it's good, there's always something to improve a little more. We have a question from Christian, who is from Peru. And he's asking about the implementation of e-commerce. He said he went to your website. You have the American website and the Brazilian website, and they're both on Shopify, right? Yes. So is it just one account on Shopify that does both of them, or two separate accounts? There are separate accounts for each of the markets. So we have US and Brazil, and also we're launching on Germany and the UK. I don't know specifically, but it's one Shopify, but there are several different tabs on the left side, several different accounts inside Shopify. Oh, that's great. And Christian, in regards to your question, as soon as we're done here with Marceli, the Shopify team is going to be here talking about how they can help with cross-border. And in general terms, I'm going to ask for my team to separate this question here to ask them so they can explain better. But in general terms, yes, you end up having different accounts because there are different payment methods and so on. Yes, exactly. Wow, that's a good hook for later on. Yes, for the next one. Great. Question from Beth. You said that today you have Brazil and the United States, and now you're going to Europe, Germany and UK? Yes, the UK. You're going to operate on the European market with a legal entity in those countries, or are you going to use the American operation to do it over there? We're going to open a company in Europe. So it's going to be a third company as our own subsidiary in Europe. And I think that that's interesting because when you launch at Amazon in the United States, you don't have to have a company in the United States through global selling. So when we started directly with global selling, and then we noticed that that makes it much faster. And I think for Europe, it should be the same way. In Europe, we wanted to open the company because we're going into other areas of B2B and things like that. After you enter the new markets, such as the United States, to relaunch in the European market, I'm sure it's easier because you already did it once and you kind of know the path already, at least the tasks that need to be done. Do you see that? Do you think that because of the fact that you're in the American market, that can open doors so that you can sell to other markets as well in a way that's easier than it would just be than just a Brazilian brand, for example? I believe so, because a few things, we have global partners. For example, Avanza, who does all the documentation, they do it for the entire world. We already have that connection in order to be able to launch in Europe. In Amazon, we have an account manager in Amazon, and they can connect me to other sellers as well. So already being present in one market, there are certainly a few doors that have already been opened so you can go to new ones. But it's never the same thing. It's always a different little nightmare. So, like I said, Europe is much different than the United States in terms of product regulation. So a few package claims, we need to remove them. There's even product.
Yeah, another point is the European market. If you look at the block as a whole, it's quite an expressive market. So it's actually almost as big as the American market in terms of population and consumption power. But from the US to there, each country has its own regulations. Exactly. So even the VAT, which is a tax they use there, yes, it's one per country. So, okay, I'm selling in Europe, but I'm selling in Amazon Germany because you have the specific process there. Then I have Amazon UK. Yes, Amazon also has a program for fulfillment where you can send things to Germany, and then from there it goes to other countries in Europe. So we think of this option for the future because when we want to be in other countries. Great, great. So you spoke about e-commerce there as well. Yeah, Shopify in the beginning, we will do what we did in the US, which is to have a button that says buy on Amazon. And then we will evolve more locally and start partnerships to have a Shopify direct delivery to the consumer. Okay, I see. Interesting, interesting. I think your experience is great, looking to Europe as well. Okay, I think we have some very technical questions. I'm going to try and answer some of them. They're about payment forms and fulfillment, logistics operations. So about the challenge of the payment form, Shopify US, just like Shopify in Europe, has a payment form that is its own. Here it's Shopify Payments in the US that works with Stripe. So when you have an LLC in the US and you open an account in the American Shopify, it can't be Shopify Brazil because these are different. So you put the date of your American company and then you activate Shopify Payments, which is a payment form. I imagine that's what you use. Yes, and then we have Apple Pay and other payment forms as well. So Shopify helps in this matter. If you are using a different e-commerce solution, then our clients usually integrate these with Stripe in the same way. You have an LLC in the US, you open up your account in Stripe, and you open up the necessary payment forms here for the US. Another point is about fulfillment here, the logistics area. So Ricardo and Geraldo are asking us about logistics. today, Globalfy is not operating anything in logistics in Europe. We don't have an operation there. That's too bad, Diego. It's about time. Yes, it's an option. It's an option. Well, as soon as we guarantee our first client, we'll do it. So actually, what Bob is doing and many brands are doing is they're using Amazon's fulfillment there. So you're sending from Brazil to Germany within Amazon's logistics system in Germany, and Amazon will distribute this according to the marketplaces that you are active in. And the UK is separate now because of Brexit. Yes, and they have their own fulfillment, yeah. So here in the US today, when the products leave Brazil, are you sending them in a big volume to Globalfy and then we are delivering them to Amazon? Or do you have two loads, one directly to Amazon and one to us? Two loads. So we send directly to Amazon and Amazon then delivers what is sold through them. And to you, we send the stock that will be delivered through our website. So actually you deliver the most important factor here, which is the face of our brand because it's through our website. Yes, I was showing this operation to a potential client and I saw your personalized boxes. Yes, they are personalized. So in Bob's case, they are sending one load to Amazon and one load to us. We have other clients that send the whole load to us. And then we separate the load and we say this goes to Amazon and we do this delivery process to the fulfillment center of Amazon and we have a part of the load that stays with us. Sometimes we feed Amazon stock. Okay, so they're out of stock. We send stock to Amazon. And in your cases, you don't have a return, right? But in the cases like, for example, in the fashion area, Amazon does the logistics. They have a return policy. And sometimes we do this in the validation sector and all of this, and then return it to Amazon. So there are different options. Okay, a question here from Christian on one-to-one sales. Probably he's speaking of B2B. Do you think of starting in any B2B operations or no? Yes, we're interested in this. And actually, if anyone has a personal care distributor or broker to recommend to me, I will accept that recommendation. We are currently working with a broker focused on groceries. So in sustainable grocery stores, so some chains and some independent stores. And we started working with this broker. So what do? They work with our brand, the sales sheet, and they present it to these B2B that are independent and some chains that are sustainable stores, but grocery stores. So I would like one that is more focused on personal care stores. We've had this partner for a few months. We are watching how this evolves. So then hopefully we can enter a distributor to distribute our products there. Did you put your product in RangeMe? Yes, we did. But I'd like to understand from anyone who has their brand there if this actually works, because I've read some good and bad reviews. We're there right now. We're in a program, but I think you need to pay to actually be more seen. But I don't know if it's actually worth it, but it's something we're looking into, yes. We have clients actually who did this and did not have results. And we had clients who did this and had results. So maybe it depends on the category of the product. An interesting point here is that RangeMe, and there are other similar tools as well. I think on CVS's website, if I'm not mistaken, they say that for you to be one of their suppliers, first you need to be in RangeMe. So you know, maybe that's an option. Yeah, it could be interesting. I will reevaluate it, but yeah, it's something we're looking at. We have a profile there. We have signed up there. Great, great. So yeah, we're interested in this. It's a big focus for us for 2023. To be in the B2B market, Bob started as a totally digital company. We are digital native. So we started the B2B work in Brazil recently, very recently, I think a year and a half after we already had our own website, which is how we started. And so today we already have sales points in Brazil, but we are looking to grow more. And that is something we are interested in the US. And are you not scared of losing this ownership you have with a client that B2C allows you to have? Because when you go to B2B, you kind of lose control of that, right? When it's direct to consumer, it's something else. Is this something that scares you? Well, yeah, I think that's a valid fear, but I think there are ways to control that. Our packaging, for example, has a QR code that takes to our website that has more information on how you can use the product, which is still a new category. You know, people think it's strange to use a bar as shampoo. They say, oh, no foam is going to come out. So we have that QR code. And of course, we need to bring these people to our Instagram, which is our channel for creating these conversations, this open conversation with our clients. In Brazil, this conversation is more evolved. On our website, there's a little button for a chat and we reply quickly usually. So this is something that is well developed. But yes, when you go to B2B, you do lose some of that control, but I think it's worth it for the opportunity. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I think in 10 years, actually in less time than that, but 10 years ago, it was basically impossible for a brand to enter the market without depending on these different steps, right? The distributor that would find a sales point, see if there was space on the shelf for you to then enter the market. Today, if you develop a good product, you can distribute it to the whole world as you are all doing, right? In an independent fashion. Hearing from the client and being closer to the client and adjusting accordingly. Yeah, exactly. I think it's amazing. Daniela asked a question here on your packaging. Is your packaging also sustainable? Yes, well, our packaging is made of recyclable paper, recycled paper that is recyclable, obviously. So we work with these guidelines for packaging. And when we compare our packaging, which is made of paper, to plastic packaging, you know, we're speaking of 6 months for our packaging to decompose versus 400 years. And in our box, the bar is packaged in biodegradable paper. So we are very careful about this. And when we send the bars, we send them in these paper boxes, and the tape is also a paper tape. So we are very careful about the packaging. Yes, your products are very beautiful and they smell very good. Yes, they leave a very nice smell in the fulfillment center. The boxes are really very beautiful. That was a good job you guys did on the experience. Okay, Christian has some tips here. I'm going to leave these for the end. Oh, no. He's asking for tips. Oh, okay. I thought he was giving me tips. Okay. Victor has a comment here. First of all, he's congratulating you and saying that he loves Bob's concept. And first of all, he's asking, of course, he's asking for your contact info. Victor, you can get in touch with our team and we can introduce you to Marcel, or Marcel, if you want to put your Instagram here in the chat or your contact, feel free to do so. But he's asking about Latin America. He has a e-commerce that is specialized in selling self-care products, and they're interested in this possibility of having a partnership with you all in Latin America. Oh yeah, we're interested in this, absolutely, in exploring this possibility in Latin America. And, you know, we think of Mexico, Canada, countries that we are very interested in. Right now, we are focusing very much in the US and this expansion to Europe, but we are definitely interested, and if we have a contact with the distributor, that's fantastic to create this bridge. So yeah, I will share my email here. All right, Victor. So the team that is moderating this conversation is going to send you a private message so you all can speak afterwards, and hopefully it works out. Okay, so could you explain the connection between Globalfy and Bob? I'm not so clear on this. Sure. So, Jorge, we are connected on Marceli's Shopify, and our logistics system is connected to Bob. So when a sale is made, it goes into our system. Okay, we prepare the packaging following their guidelines, the specific box, the organization, their tape is also used. And then we send this to the client. So when we send this, our system returns to Shopify via Bob's e-commerce, the tracking number. And then the client receives an email, a confirmation email. So this operation happens in a 100% automated manner. So it works in this way with Bob and Marceli's team, and that's how it happens. Yeah, and there's something else, which is the accountability here as well, right? Yes, that is true. Thank you. So Bob has the full package. We also do the accounting for them, right? And help with this, with the bank operations, the banking services as well. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the partnership. About customer service and serving your clients, we have language and culture here, right? As two factors. How are you breaking these barriers? We currently have an internal team member here in Brazil that is fluent in English and does this customer service. So the person who replies via Instagram is a marketing analyst that works with me and that is also fluent in English. They are not native speakers, okay? And I think this could make a difference in the future, but it is what we can do now. And they speak English very well, and they are doing a great job. So yes, we have this staff member who is 100% focused on replying via email and Instagram. And do you get a lot of messages? No, not that many. It's not something, of course, you know, during Black Friday, there are more questions, but not that much. Sometimes via Amazon, we receive direct messages, and it's important to reply because that affects our score there as well. We have a client, we've had a client for many years, and they have a customer service that is done directly from Brazil, but they work in a very delicate moment for the clients because they manufacture cribs for babies. So, oh wow, that's complicated. And Luciana, who is my main contact in the company, she shares very, very nice stories of their clients, sending them photos of the crib once it's assembled and their baby in the crib. So I think these communication channels, you know, they have to do with exchanging informations with the client. They're not just about receiving complaints. Does that also happen to you? You know, receiving these questions versus complaints? Yes, I think it's more about questions. You know, what kind of bar should I use for my hair? We try to highlight that information on Instagram, but there are always questions, you know, what is the best bar for my hair? We have 5 types of bars and we write all of the information on our website, but there are always questions about this. And I think people, yeah, they definitely share with us like, wow, my hair is so different after I started using this. We have reviews on our website that are great that say that, you know, the bar really made a difference for people's hair. So this exchange is great. Yeah, that is a kind of support that is hard to outsource, right? Because you're speaking of the product. Yeah. And the way in which we talk, you know, we always speak in first person. So this has to do with the brand's characteristic. We're not going to outsource that. In Brazil, we have an amazing CS team and they really are fantastic at what they do. They reply quickly and in the tone that we want for the brand. Yeah, and have you ever realized that things that you learned in the American market, you replicated in the Brazilian market? Did you have this inverse exchange? Like what you saw that works here, you took it to the Brazilian operations or not yet? Well, I don't know if I can give you a specific example, but we invest in media in Brazil, social media, Facebook, Instagram. And in the US, we were investing as well. And we can compare a little bit, you know, these different numbers, what we test in one country, what works, what doesn't. So sometimes we conduct these comparisons with our creative team and take a look at these numbers between our accounts. And I think that's the main thing in our communication, uh, design. Everyone is from Brazil, so we have a lot of support in Brazil. And then we have some things that we deployed to the US, and we've done quite a lot already in the communication area. But this exchange in terms of social media, yes, it happens.
Well, Marceli, we're reaching the end of our conversation. So, first of all, tips. You've given us a lot of tips. It's great. I'm happy to help. But the main points that you would give to an entrepreneur from Brazil or Latin America or anyone or anywhere in the world who wants to launch at a different market, what would you think would be the first steps and the main important points to make that happen in the best way possible? I might repeat a few things, but I think it's important to close. One point that's very important is the partners. Like I said, find the right partner who will make a difference. It's like we have in Globalfy for logistics, we have an SEO agency. So they are very important partners. There's an agency that does our Amazon ads. So they are partners that will make your business run. I think the best tip would be try to talk to people who've had this experience and can refer these partnerships to you. Because we tried going direct and try to go to Google but that takes too long for you to find the partner who's the right fit. That's the first tip. Second of all, Amazon has a lot of feet. I think a lot of people should know that. So you need to understand everything in detail. What discounts can you give? You because so that no fees end up being a surprise later on. That's to understand from the beginning. And I also the experience in acquisition cost. Amazon is a great way to begin, for you to have a cost, a smaller conversion fee than if you had your own website. It's very important, like we said, to have your own website and have your consumer there. But Amazon is a great way to have lesser cost to enter the market where in the United States where the client acquisition cost is very high. So I think those are the three main ones. Great, Marceli, that's great. People are asking for the contact of the partner you have for media and SEO, social media and SEO. I'll share the email here so you can contact them. Great. So Marceli will share the information in the chat. I can, don't worry, the team will can share it. Everyone will get it at the chat. There are a few more questions, but unfortunately there won't be enough time to go over them. But first of all, I want to thank you for your time. I know that time is very scarce for those who are developing enterprises and entrepreneurs. So thank you for taking the time to come and talk to us. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your transparency to come here and share about what you're doing. Congratulations on what the brand is doing. The culture and objective of the brand, and for the courage to tackle on new markets. It's not easy. It's hard for a young brand like you to go abroad and tackle new markets and make that happen. So thank you very much. Thank you, Diego. It was a pleasure to help and to have new contacts here. It's always great to share experiences. So everyone, buy products from Bob in Brazil as well in the United States. Yes, those, yeah, you can buy it from Shopify and we'll send it. That's great. So thank you, Marceli, for your time and for the trust and the partnership. You can always count on us. Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye. So, guys, we're closing this segment, and in a few minutes, please don't leave. In a few minutes, Pedro Trevisan and the Shopify team will be here and asking a lot of these technical questions about integration and payment processing and everything else that you're asking that we were unable to answer. So thank you for your time, and I'll see you soon with Pedro's and the Shopify team, Wave Commerce. See you soon.